I'm Andrew. I'm 2001.
Mike Strecker, 2000. Excuse me, I wish 2005. 1995.
Matt Barr, 1994.
You got that? All right.
Okay. Yeah, great. So first, just we can go one by one. Tell us how you got involved in WLTL, what your involvement was when you were here, and just we can just kind of start with that. What drew you to the station?
Do you want to start, Mike?
Do I get to start?
You get to start. We can just go around the room like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I probably had the most unique start to the radio station when I was like 5, considering my dad has been involved here since the early 70s. So, just when I got to LT, then he's like, yeah, you should really join. It's fun. You've been here. You kind of know what's going on, and became the sports director for 1995. So that was my position.
I got started during they were actually doing the construction on the new studio when I first started as like an assistant DJ. So they just needed people in the summer to like fill slots. Just started assistant DJing, and then eventually got on management team and was like news director, and then eventually program director, and yeah, kind of ran all sorts of random things, did radio dramas and kept people in line and filling out their logs and their forms, and got real into paperwork. Yeah.
Cool.
FCC logs.
Oh my God, FCC logs, so much fun. I rewrote all of them. That was my big project, to update them.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, paperwork. Matt?
Yeah, I started. I think I had heard about the radio station when I was in junior high. They said, "Yo, LT's got a radio station." So, as soon as I got to school, whatever, like the first day that I could take the bus from South Campus to North Campus, I came over and was like, "Hey, I want to do radio. Like, what can I do here?" And they kind of said, "Well, you got to be an assistant first before you can have your own show. But right now, you can go sit in that corner and listen to new music and give us ratings, because that's how we want to, rate all the new stuff that comes in and see what is going to go into rotation." So I would come every day after school and sit in the corner and listen to music, and I loved it. That was enough for me for a while. I ended up, by senior year, I was a co-music director with Eric Filson, and it was great.
I remember seeing all those records coming in.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I didn't have to listen.
Yeah, that was like what drew me. I wanted to listen to new music all the time and then share it with people. So
in the sports department, we had the IHSA tapes.
Oh yeah.
That we had to listen to.
Yeah.
A recap. Those were actually pretty good, and they were short, so it didn't take very long.
I think one of the things that I always found really interesting about the station as a whole was that how you could have people who were like incredibly passionate about very different aspects of it.
Yeah.
Like when I was here, I really didn't care that much about sports or really care that much about music. I was very into like NPR and like comedy shows and stuff like that, but there was just this wide range of people that had very different passions that all sort of filtered under the same umbrella, and you got to find kind of like your spot within the organization that you could like really like. I never would have listened to the music, never would have like rated it, but I remember during my time there was people who loved that. That's what they thrived on, was just doing that kind of activity. I didn't care about sports.
Neither did I, to be honest. I hated when there was a sports, there was a game that was going to be on the air and it was cutting into my show. I'd just be like, God,
yeah, there was always a fight too. Remember to try to get that airtime. It's like, no, we have a football game, we have a basketball game. Sorry, So
yeah. But I also remember having to when during management having to learn like, oh, you have to balance the programming. So because we have all these different interests just within the student body, and you need to make time for everybody's sort of specialties, and all of that is what carries the station. If we were just music all the time, we would be cutting out a huge section of our, I mean, it's a small audience, and it's kind of funny to think about it now, but like cared about like a couple hundred people.
Yeah.
Like there's like 20 people that listen to the sports game. Great, we're doing the sports game.
But yeah, there definitely were people. I mean, I would never tune in to listen to a game, but I know people that would. They'd be like, oh, is LT playing? I'm going to turn it on the radio.
Yeah.
All right. Go for it.
That was fun. To announce the games too, that was exciting, because I didn't know much about music. Sports was my thing, so I guess that's how it was. WLTL became an all-inclusive thing.
Right.
Really try to grab interest from the community.
Yeah.
And I wish now, I'm looking back, I would have. I mean, I'm a lot more into sports now than I was in high school, so I probably would have enjoyed it a lot more with my knowledge now of sports.
Yeah, looking back, I always like look back of like, oh my god, I had so much fun. The radio station, we got to do so many things, and I remember being super busy, but now really regretting like not doing more. Like I look back, I'm like, oh, I wish I had done more. I wish I'd taken. There was so much opportunity that you only have during that like weird brief period of time where you can try everything, and failure is like not a concern.
Yeah.
Like who cares?
Yeah, you
You're
realize
just
that now.
Yeah, I realize that now. At the time,
didn't
though,
want to fail at the time.
no, didn't want to fail. But looking back now, it's like, oh my god, the stakes were actually rather low. But everybody took it so seriously and had such passion for everything that this organization is leaps and bounds above even professional organizations I've worked with now. And I look back and I'm like, oh my god, we didn't know how good we had it.
Yeah.
So many opportunities.
Yeah.
You know, there was, I don't know if they still do this, but I'm sure they probably do. There's a bunch of DJ equipment that you could go out and DJ, you know, dances or different things, and people did that. And I know, you know, Eric Meyer sitting out there. I know he used to do that all the time.
Chris Wagner.
Chris Wagner,
Yeah.
And I never did any of that, and I'm like, I should have done that. Like, why didn't I take that? That would have been a great opportunity, and you know, have another. I don't know.
It was also a good moneymaker, too.
Yeah.
That was the other thing. I remember having to go over the budget with, like, Singletary every quarter. And, you know, if we complained about the, like, mobile DJ kit, she'd be like, no, you got to put more money back into the mobile DJ kit because that's where all, like, look at where, like, and we're talking, like, $50 a month. But that's the money that, like, comes in consistently and pays some of our, like, licensing fees and, like, just the basic repairs of the station come from the mobile DJ setup. And you had to sort of learn to balance, like, revenues and costs at a micro scale, but still very important.
Yeah. Management class. The Robert's Rules of Order.
Oh my gosh.
Which I'm sure Thomas continues to do. I
hope so.
I remember getting yelled at for speaking out of turn like the first week or so. I really need to read this book because I want to get my point across, and I don't know when I can jump in.
Yeah.
That was always funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, now I wish I could get like in meetings just to make people use the same structure.
Right.
When everybody's talking, I'm like, oh no, we need a gavel. We need some point of clarifications here. We need some point of orders.
Yeah.
Like everybody's just
Lots of
like,
points
oh, we're
of
talking.
order.
No, we got to restructure everything over here.
That's funny.
Yeah.
It's true.
So did you guys participate in Rockathon as students?
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Tell us some Rockathon
Definitely.
memories.
I remember, the only thing I remember about Rockathon was food.
Yeah.
I feel like food was being delivered through the window.
Yeah.
Or, you know,
That's
knocking
true.
at the door, like,
Yeah.
you know, you hit all the major food spots in the area.
I remember once during Rockathon, we did like almost like a little bit of a contest that we kind of got into a little bit of trouble of. And the contest was just first person to deliver Krispy Kreme donuts to the window would get a gift card to, I think they'd gotten us gift cards to like Dunkin' Donuts or something like that, and we were like pitting Dunkin' Donuts versus Krispy Kreme, and I got a little bit into trouble. Like, the question is like, is that an advertisement for Dunkin' Donuts or is it an advertisement for Krispy Kreme?
Right.
And somebody did deliver half a dozen donuts to the window, and we gave them the gift card. And looking back now, like, oh, we're just taking random food from strangers through a window. Probably not a great idea, but at 2 a.m, it was a wonderful idea.
What else are you gonna do?
Yeah, always the overnight slot was the one to get.
Yeah.
I did that a couple of years. Me and Chris Dawson would do the overnight slot, and I don't know how were the shifts like 4-hour shifts. It felt like
8.
Yeah, it felt like it was
It was
eternity.
a lot of time to fill.
Yeah.
For sure.
I think they were 4, but I remember kind of trying to do it so that you had 4 hours before your buddy, and then you did your slot, and they sat in with you, and then you switched.
Yeah.
So technically, you each only had like 4 hours, but you
Yeah.
put them back to back, and were able to do the whole night.
Yeah.
And of course, being young and having infinite energy, just
Yeah.
continuing on the next day.
Yeah,
No problem.
yeah, right. It's true. Yeah. Well, that Sunday night slot, you didn't have to go to school Monday. I think I remember
I think
that.
there was, yeah.
So that would have been the best slot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get the overnight and no school on Monday.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think I also like sat in on like everybody's. I spent a lot of time just sitting in the office, just hanging out. I just liked being here, hanging out when everybody was coming in and out.
Yeah.
And doing their shots. You know.
Lots of messing around.
Do you remember the money that you guys raised during Rockathon? How did that benefit the station?
Let me close this door.
Okay. Can you just like peep in there, just say like, lower
Yeah.
the-
Flash the light or something.
Yeah. Or they can go in the
Hey, did
classroom.
you
if
guys
they want.
keep it down a bit?
Or they can go in the classroom.
Yeah. Move 'em. Yeah. Move 'em in the other room. Yeah.
See that Tucker Maloney out there? There's part of the problem.
So Rockathon money, right? I do not remember what we spent the Rockathon money.
I don't either. I remember we set a record at the time for the most that year. You know, our year was the most ever, but I'm sure it's been broken several times since then.
Yeah, what is the Rockathon money this year?
This year it was 21,000 and a half.
It's pretty good.
Jeez. Yeah, I think we did like 15 or something like that.
I remember
when was here.
12.
Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah.
say
Remember
like
that, but
10,
That's
12
crazy.
area.
Oh, well, I know. Well, we definitely use it for snacks during the monthly meeting. It went into that, like Oreos and chocolate milk and soda.
yeah, I'm sure some sort of equipment.
Maybe some mugs or some T-shirts. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that just has to get paid
Yeah.
that you don't really think about every. I mean, there's the
Maybe
licensing, the subscriptions,
New
the
mini
BMI.
disc player or something.
Oh, maybe we could
Remember
see.
those?
Yeah, right.
Maybe it's just mini discs.
It'd work
just a
about half
pile.
the time. Then it wouldn't eject.
Yeah.
It's nothing but a dead air machine, really.
We had to like keep track of how many mini discs we owned because they were like $20
Yeah,
a piece,
right.
and if you lost one,
You know, I'm sad there's no turntable in this room.
I think it's in the
I've
other.
never
I think it's in
seen
the other room still. Yeah.
I do
They still
see
do
some
vinyls,
records. Looks like
yeah.
they're display only, or does anybody actually use them anymore? No. He shakes his head no.
Sad.
Yeah. When I was there, it was kind of the transition from vinyl to CD because the rotation bins were milk crates and they were full of records. And then when CDs would come in, they'd have like a cardboard, like a piece of cardboard that was cut to a square and then an envelope taped on it. And then you'd stick the CD in the envelope and then, mark things on the back
Right.
as to, when it was last played. Do they still do rotation? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but it's
Sorry,
all-
I
it's
probably
all on the
shouldn't be
computer
asking
now.
the cameraman
Yeah.
questions.
They do it all off the computer now. You can just set it to
Oh, yeah.
basically auto, and it just goes, and then you just kind of jump in on the mic when you have a break. But yeah, I remember having to queue up both vinyl carts and CDs.
Yeah.
So in other words, it's way easier now.
Yeah, they've got no excuses.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We used to mess up all the time. You'd get your record all queued up, and then you'd go to play it, and it's the channel's not on, and you're like, "What's happening?"
Yeah.
No.
I also remember having to plan out your playlist so that you had a nice bathroom break
Yeah.
track. Something real long, 7 to 11 minutes,
Yep.
so you can run down the hall,
You always
use
needed
the
that.
bathroom. You had to have that one queued up at the right time.
Say, one of the biggest things I remember, like I had the behind the scenes look
Yeah.
from my dad. So from the time I was a little kid to now, I know how hard he worked to keep this place running.
Yeah.
And how many extra hours he spent, coming over here on Sundays and Saturdays, just doing these tiny things to make sure that everything keeps up and running. And so I know that this is his big deal.
Yeah.
This is his life's work. He
Yeah.
loves it, loves the kids, and I don't ever imagine him doing anything but this.
So maybe for people who might not be familiar, you could give them a second to explain who your father is.
Oh, yeah. Well, of course. Dennis Strecker, he's the technical director here and has been, I think, since like 72.
As long as I've ever been around.
Well,
Yeah,
as
it's
long
been-
as I've been alive, I can tell you that. So he's worked really hard to keep this place going.
Yeah, I
Lots
think-
of kids.
I think he's probably one of the most consistent things about this place. It's just that Stricker's always been here. He's
Yeah.
always kept it running and always improving it. And that's the other cool thing is that not to like go too far on how great your dad is. I'm sure you're very familiar.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's like kind of the heart and soul here. I think. I mean, he's always not just maintaining but improving. Every time I ever come back and I talk to him, he's always got some other project going on to either like improve here or over at the South Campus. He's always looking at the next thing to
Yeah.
improve upon. And it's very
I remember coming to classes as a kid. You come to a sports program.
yeah.
He'd come pick me up. He's like, "No, we got to go upstairs to the fourth floor and check something out."
Yeah.
Like, oh, so I knew what the Mosley was when I was like 6 years old. That it needed to be reset, and
Yeah.
I knew how to reset it. It's not communicating. I'm like, okay, well, it's true though.
Yeah.
So kind of the last thing to kind of wrap up our conversation, what did you learn at the station that kind of helped you in college or maybe later on in life? Not necessarily have to be radio related, but just kind of the lessons that you took from WLTL.
I mean, there's the things that I learned here at WLTL have lasted with me my entire life, and the surprising part is that it's the things that aren't specifically broadcast related. It's just the like interpersonal skill sets that are sort of forced upon you. Like a young person that has to essentially manage a professional operation, and you're expected to do it with a certain level of professionalism. And then you have your, you know, your teachers like Singletary and Strecker like backing you up and just reinforcing these like things like Robert's Rules of Order, the 1 minute manager, and just like how to be part of a collaborative team that's in a creative field. And that's lasted me my entire life. Like I actually just reread 1 minute manager because I was like at work. I was like, oh, we're having a real hard time getting through to some of our young staff. Like, how can we be doing this better? And I just went back to the original book that Singletary gave me. I was like, oh yeah, that's right, because I'm not giving them like clear goals and like doing all this like really basic stuff that is so simple. And I'm looking back now, I'm like, I can't believe we learned that in like, high school. Yeah.
There's a lot of that they've learned. I took some of the music and broadcasting stuff into college. I worked at my college radio station and ended up as music director there and general manager there. And then I worked at XRT here in the city for a couple of years after I graduated. But you realize working at like a, you know, quote unquote real business that it's not the same. There's still like a camaraderie, but it's definitely a business. And when I look back to my time at WLTL, you think about how awesome it was that we could just do this and not have to worry about money. I mean, we did for Rockathon, you did, but the rest of the time you did it for fun and you did it for what you loved. And you, like you said, you meet a lot of people and you work together with them. And it's almost like you're like in a band together, or it's like your second family or something, where there's people that you don't maybe get along with that well, but you learn to work with them and you learn about them and you become more of a compassionate person, just being with people and knowing them. And that is something you carry through forever.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree with you. Trying to really make something work with a whole bunch of different people. I definitely use that all the time. Being a small business owner and organization, you learn that when you're young and you're able to take it through for the rest of your career. So that was a big help.
Thank you guys so much. We got